Hey, good day everybody, and welcome back to the Air Warfare Group. This is Juice, and today's video is going to be covering what I call Phase 3 of the Case 3 approach. And I call this phase loosely, I call it the configuration phase. This is where you're reaching the 10-mile mark, you're at 1200 AGL, and you're flying basically from the 10-mile mark to the 6-mile mark to do the communications and get the needles locked on and everything get configured up, and basically try to be on speed. And so it's going to go fast. This is one of the smallest phases in the 5 phases that I've defined in different parts, so I can cover this in a small series so you guys can digest it in pieces, not that you have to watch the whole thing. But this is, again, as I've explained in a couple of the comments, this is not a perfect demonstration of how the real guys do it. This is just to introduce you to some of the principles so that you guys can go and find some of the references, find some of the documentation that I've provided for you, and go out and just practice this. Have the comfort of practicing it, and realize that you're not going to perfect it right away. You're not going to be able to do it right the first time. I can barely still do it right, and I don't think I'm doing it right all the time. But in that, I'm going to just cover some stuff that we need to consider for this approach. So this phase is going to take us from 10 nautical miles down to 6 nautical miles, and this is pretty much the whole approach per the DCS supercarrier manual, except I do a deviation, and we'll cover that in the next phase, phase 4, and that's going to be the 6 nautical miles down to the ball. And that one right there, I fly, instead of flying a descent pattern down to 600 AGL on 300, I fly straight and level until I intersect the glide slope, and we'll see that in the video when we get to that section. But we're basically going to be the section ahead of that right now, and I have 2 references here. These are the ones that I've shared in other videos. One is the NavAir, that's the CV NATOPS manual, and the other one is the F-18 ABCD Hornet manual. And so these are just a couple of graphics that I grabbed out of there. As I mentioned before, I'm a graphical learner. I like seeing pictures, pointy-talky, and these are great. They give you a little bit of information, depending on how current they are, but a lot of the information is still applicable to DCS. And again, DCS software is going to be the limiter, along with our own abilities on how well we perform this approach. So in this, we're going to cover some of the communications for this part of the approach, but basically we're doing a mode 2 approach. If you go and read in the manual, mode 2 is still a manual flight with indications in the cockpit that you're getting from the carrier control, and carrier control is also monitoring you, and they're getting some of the information and feedback from your systems, and then they're talking to you saying, hey, are you seeing what we're seeing? And you'll see that in the video when we go to the video. We're going to go to 8 nautical miles. We're going to get a call from them. They're going to tell us what they're going to say. Basically, before we do that, let's back up. So at about 10.5 nautical miles, it's actually just inside of 11 nautical miles, you're going to get a wake-up call, and the wake-up call is going to be the control saying, hey, fly bullseye. So that means that you should be getting a lineup for your localizer or your center line. You get a lineup, and you're at 1,200 feet. So you're flying, you're configured, you've got your gear down at 10, you're flying your velocity vector so that you're maintaining level on the horizon. You're not climbing or descending. Don't worry about the E bracket at this point. It doesn't come into play until you actually start your descent, when you get into the descent mode. Now, I say that happens at around 10.5 to 11 miles. You get that fly bullseye call, kind of a wake-up call. And then at 8 nautical miles, you get another call, and you get the controller will say final radar contact 8 miles. And you'll concur and all that kind of stuff. So then you're flying down, you're flying along, and then you get to the 6-mile mark. And control is going to call you up, and control is going to say 6 nautical miles. He's going to say ACLS lock on, 6 miles, say needles, and then you respond with whatever you would do to correct. Let's say your needle's way over to the right and it's way up. You're going to say up and right, or up and over right. And basically in this situation, because I was pretty much lined up on the needles on the localizer on the center line, and when I get the glide slope needle to show up, I'm below it, or it's above me, so I would have to fly up to intersect it. Now and I can tell you now, I'm not going to fly up. I'm going to stay at 1,200 feet. I'm not going to fly up and try to intercept that needle and then chase it down. I'm going to fly level until I hit it, which is about the 3-mile mark, and we'll cover that in the next section. So in this situation, if you look straight in the HUD, you'll see the needles, and I call up and on, and you'll see that in the video. And then the controller is going to say call sign. They're going to say my call sign, and they're going to tell me if they concur or not, and then they're going to clear me to fly mode 2, which, as I explained, is a manual approach using indications in the cockpit and feedback that you're getting from a carrier approach. So with that, let's go to the replay video and see what it looks like. Again, this is a very short segment. For you guys, I have put up my controls marker so you can see what I'm doing with the stick and throttle, and then I've also put in the information bar down below so you can see that. So let's go ahead and hit play. So we just got that fly bullseye call, which is, I call it the wake up call, because usually you don't hear stuff for a little bit and you get that information. It's like, oh, somebody's still out there. Okay, we're at our 10-mile mark right now, close to our 1,200 feet. Got rad out. Remember, at this point, you've already got your cockpit set up. You've got your lights set up. You've got your anti-skid set right. You basically are flying like you're going to do a Case 1 approach. You're all configured. But you're not doing that. You're doing a Mode 2 Case 3. So the first thing you'll notice is I was off. If you look at the indication on the right in the HSI, I was off centerline a little bit, and you can see I'm left of the needle. So I'm going to fly to the right of my final approach, which is going to be 346. If you notice, that's about 7 degrees to the left. Depending on how far you are off the center line determines how much of a deviation angle you're going to fly to try to intersect that. You wouldn't want to fly a 90-degree one this close in. You're going to shoot right over it. So what you do is, if you're well out of the lane, you might want to do 10 to 15 degrees offset to re-intercept it. If you're just a little bit out, you may want to go 5 to 10 degrees, just enough to get over there and then quickly get back on course. So there's the 8 miles call. And you can see that I'm still off. I want to try to get that localizer line that's in the middle, the long vertical one, right behind the velocity vector. I want to get that lined up with that little arrow if I can. And you can see on the HSI I'm still well out of the lane. I keep drifting to the left. So we're almost 10 degrees. We're about 8.5 degrees to the right to try to correct that. We're still 7 miles out. And that's what this phase is for, is to, basically get yourself in alignment so you can come in on the carrier. I'm just starting to see the laser lineup light flashing through the smog over there, or the rain. Just went behind the upright on the left side, but if you guys want to replay this section, you'll see it out there. So I'm not really worried about visual right now. I'm just flying the needles, staying at my 1,200, and then we're getting ready to get to the 6-mile mark where we're going to intersect. We're not going to intersect the glide slope, but we're going to pick up. There it is. There's the horizontal needle, which is telling us our glide slope. So let's get this call. Just like I predicted, up and on. And he concurred, flying mode 2. So now I got my needles all lined up. I'm getting everything back in the picture. So I'm going to come over. I've dropped my altitude just a little bit, but I'm not going to really let it go. And I'm flying to intersect that line to get back on. And I'm just going to keep it at around 1,200 feet until I get to the line, horizontal line comes down, and it'll get a call. So we're going to go ahead and pause it here. That's all for this video, guys. Hopefully by the end of the week I'll have phase 4, which is going to take us down to the ball. And the reason I broke it down into these small sections is because there's a lot of information to cover and a lot of procedures to practice. And if you've got enough gas, I've got 4.0 right now, 4,010 pounds. I got 4.0 on fuel. If you've got enough gas and you've got your bingo set, I would fly a profile, and then as soon as you get to past the parameter of that, or past the marking point of that when you're going into the next phase, go ahead and swing out of the pattern, come back around, follow your instance back to the 10 or 11 mile mark, and re-enter this phase. And that's what I've been doing, is I've been flying this phase multiple times just to get the muscle memory. And you know what? Once you get all of these phases practiced and you have the muscle memory for each one, doing the whole thing, and we'll do a whole thing. I'll do a video at the end of this series showing me doing the initial contact, then all the screw ups that I'll do getting down to the carrier trap, and you'll be amazed at how much all this comes together for you. Don't give up, guys. Keep trying. I know a lot of you are experts. If you got friends out there, help them learn this if they want to. Be sure to like and subscribe and share this with a friend if you do. Let us know what we're doing right and wrong in the comments, and also check out some of our other videos. We've got a lot of popular how-tos on FaceTrack No IR. We've got videos on how to set your monitor settings depending on what graphic settings you want. We've got a lot of good stuff. Tyro has joined us on the team about 6 months ago from the DCS debrief. We have his offensive BFM series, and we just have a brand new defensive BFM series that started this year. Tyro is busy with work and travel, and as soon as he gets back, he's going to get set for, I believe, episode 3 of the defensive BFM series. But stay tuned, it's coming. Just a little bit of delay there. I'll be doing some more bottle to throttle interviews with an Army Black Hawk pilot, also flew Dash 7s. You guys have seen him on the channel before. His name's Takeda. He's a professional pilot and a really good dude. Be sure to check out Walt's interview. We're going to be doing some more interviews with Walt, the former B-52, T-38, and U-2 pilot. He also did some non-flying jobs that were pretty interesting over in the war, and he's going to share that with us over another beer. So you guys stay tuned. I think you're going to like what we have to offer. And again, we appreciate your comments and your likes and your shares. Again, thank you, and come back soon. We'll see you guys.